Premiership Perusal Podcast presents Lads on Tour.
Just like you never know where time goes, because now we're at the final.
Now we're recording live.
We're recording live with the final of the Euro 2020, 2021 here.
Impending.
This round, I mean, it was pretty exciting. I wouldn't say that the level of play was as high as, I feel like the best round. I mean, we still have the final to go, but I feel like the round of 16 was like the best.
Yeah,
was
for
the
sure.
Peak of the tournament. Just from enjoyment standpoint, they were both pretty fun games to watch. Wouldn't you say?
I thought there was kind of like an element of maybe tiredness.
Yeah.
It's been a long tournament, kind of.
Yeah, especially for, I mean, a team like Spain having to go extra time for all of their games after the group stage.
It seems like there's been a lot of extra time games. I don't know if it's just
more so than normal, I would
recency
say.
bias, but it seems like so many games went to extra time.
I think it did. I'm curious as to what the stat would be compared to even if you just looked at like last Euros, but I can only think of like 3 off the top of my head. I know Croatia played in one, and I believe that was against Portugal.
That feels like it was
Portugal
like
in the final
20 years ago.
I know. Even the last Premier League season felt like a long time ago.
Yeah.
The 2020 Premier League season felt like forever. Oh, that was crazy. So let's just get into it. First game was Italy, Spain. With this one, the main thing was Spinazzola being out. What's Italy going to do? How are they going to look any different? We were mentioning that Emerson should just try and be himself, not try and be Spinazzola, play a little more defensively, and they'll just have to rely a little more on the midfield and attackers to do their own thing. Not going to have those overlapping runs as much. Kind of turned out Emerson kind of got in a little bit. He didn't really, obviously not nearly as effective as Spinazzola going forward and stuff, but...
Yeah, it looked like they were lacking in that area going forward, not able to really capitalize as much on Spain's errors at times. That fast counterattack with Spinazzola.
Because what he allows for them to do is to pinch those wings into more central areas for Insigne and Chiesa, and that gives them, not only can they still distribute, but like they would be able to do out wide like normal wingers, but it allows them to take more shooting opportunities and look to create for themselves, which is massive for them because they're two best attackers so far this tournament. So taking away a part that takes away their ability, or well, not fully takes away their ability, but it provides a kind of like a deficit in terms of they're not able to go as central anymore. They're gonna have to work out wider.
Yeah, not able to have the reliable attacking piece on the wing. Like you knew for sure, like Spinazzola was getting up there.
Yeah,
and he was bombing forward. Of course, not in this game. Italy at times sat back quite a bit. Spain holding
that's what you're gonna have to do against Spain.
Most of the possession. But again, the theme was here. Oh, we should touch on Spain. Spain making 3 changes. Oyarzabal up front. Eric Garcia in the
back line.
And then it was Danny Olmo for...
Yeah, he was kind of just their striker.
For,
I guess.
Sarabia?
Sarabia?
Yeah. Sarabia was injured, yes.
Yeah. No, it was kind of a strange thing because it was very much like France, where France kind of had some fluidity. I mean, sometimes Mbappe would be out wide, sometimes it'd be Benzema go out wide for a little bit, and then Griezmann, they'd flop wings and whatnot. Olmo was kind of a little more central, or so he started off. Kind of ended up moving a little more out wide, a little left. I mean,
I thought it was a weird time to experiment with this.
Yeah.
Like, is this the time you want to try it? Because there were times when it seemed like maybe if Murata was in there,
yeah, you
would have been
just,
better to have, like, obviously he's not great, but
theoretically,
at least
he's
like
a 9.
He's a focal point of the offense. In this game, it was similar to their other games where they just look so bad when they're in the final third trying to create a shot.
Yeah, they get the chance to create. They're able to, whether it's dribbling or link up play through passing and just tremendous build up play that'll break down a defense. It always came down to the finishing for them in this tournament and in this game. I think I saw a stat where Danny Olmo in this tournament had he had at least 20 shots. I don't remember the specific numbers, at least 20 shots. He didn't score.
Yeah. How many of those were even quality shots? I
mean, I think a good amount were on target, but I mean, on target doesn't necessarily mean quality shots.
Right.
It's not like it's not the keeper's not making a diving save or anything, But yeah, going with 3, because Torres and Orizabal more wingers, and that's kind of what they're mainly doing. And then almost the false 9. It as unideal as it is, I don't know how you don't have Murata or Moreno in there. And then later in the game, you bring them both on, so then you have 2 9s, but yet you're still playing the 4-3-3.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just kind of weird.
And even though Italy was sitting back, to me, it always looked like Italy was the team that was most dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when they had a chance, which wasn't all that often, they looked like they were taking it seriously, getting on the ball, being direct, and having chances.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I felt I would honestly say the majority of Spain's games in this tournament. It felt like the other team was always had the better chance to do something, and I feel like that's mainly just because of the finishing. Because like I said, in certain games, their possession side to side, it's not quick or anything. It's just kind of possession for possession's sake. I would say that this game, the Swiss game was pretty even. They did get a little lucky. I would say the Croatia game, they definitely were in control.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the Slovakia game. The Poland game, you'd probably say, but then they got the one against them. The Sweden game, they didn't look threatening at all. I'd say this game was very much like the Sweden game, where it's like Sweden didn't have that much possession, or damn near didn't have 100 passes.
Yeah.
But they look like the most attacking team that had the best chances, and that's what happened in this game.
So, first half, no one scores, 0-0 going into halftime.
Mm-hmm. It kind of felt like they were feeling each other out a little bit.
Yeah, no one was really taking too many risks.
Yeah.
Then you come out of halftime, Italy scores in the 60th minute. Chiesa picking up another goal.
Yeah, nice little counter.
Yeah.
Great build-up, or not build-up, but the dribble pass to create the space and then just curl the far post.
Yeah.
Great shot.
Beautiful shot. And at that point, you're thinking, not that surprising.
Yeah.
Because, like we said, Italy looked like they were creating the better chances. And it was, about time that they
executed on one. Yeah.
It didn't look great going forward, but it looked good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I think one thing that this is probably the first thing I criticized Mancini for. You could probably find other stuff, but I would say this one was the first one where I really noticed. When they took off Immobile, it wasn't so much my problems them taking off Immobile. He didn't look that great, didn't look that sharp this game. He did have the assist technically, but it was bringing on Berardi, and it's like, well, now you don't have a guy in the middle.
Yeah.
Sure, you can have Insigne, but what Immobile was doing for them was kind of holding up play, and that's how he got the assist. Insigne is not going to hold up play. You're not going to have a ton of possession. I guess your main thing is you think Berardi'd help more on the counter than Immobile, or maybe even pressing at times.
Immobile likes to get in behind, which, with the Spanish high line,
Yeah.
You would
And
think
not
that's
the
always going to
fastest
be a
center
threat.
backs. Yeah. You would think that. And then even if, say, they weren't thinking that and they're maybe like, we're just going to shut up shop, kind of hold up game, or have the striker just be more of a hold up guy, and then you think you go Bellotti because
Yeah.
he's a little stronger
Yeah.
and can kind of get to the corners and whatnot. So I didn't really get that from Mancini.
Yeah, I don't know. That was kind of a weird one.
And then
Maybe
Berardi
just
didn't really do much anyways
Looked
when he came on.
fresher. I mean, he looked good early on in the tournament, but then
Yeah.
eventually got replaced.
Chiesa's just been so good for them on that
Yeah.
side that you have to have him in.
Yeah.
And then your man came on right after, Alvaro Morata.
That man. He somehow does it.
He's the biggest. If you rank like the 5 biggest enigma players, I feel like there aren't as much as when we started to watch soccer.
Hmm.
Like Balotelli's like the ultimate
Yeah.
enigma guy. Would you say that Morata is right now? I'd say through the years, Diego Costa's got to be up there. Who's like just guys that like you don't know
Like
what
Fernando
to ever
Torres.
expect. Yeah, just guys you
Yeah.
don't know what to ever expect. They're the
Yeah.
ultimate wild card.
And it's like
Like who's
a
that
lot
guy
of the time
now?
you watch them and they're like god awful. And then sometimes
They'll just
they
pop
look
up.
amazing.
Yeah, they'll just pop up at like times you need them the most. And then
Yeah.
even just like certain random games that don't matter that much, they'll just get like a meme goal.
I would say even like Benteke at Liverpool.
Yeah, that's fair. He's like a lower level one, but yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I feel
There's
like
gotta
there's
be
less
someone.
of those these days.
I feel like it's easier to do that as striker more so than like
For sure.
unless you're I guess Richard Dunn, but he's just a permanent meme.
Yeah. The thing is, too, like the striker position is also kind of being revolutionized by guys like Mbappe and Holland.
True.
Um,
So the regular
Isak.
9 is
yeah. It's more like guys who are like tall, athletic, running, whereas before it was like, you have this big lug up top and you hoof it up there. Like
Yes.
an Andy Carroll or
Yeah.
something. They're not going to be like pressing and making runs like that, but they're going to be a focal point.
Yeah.
And that kind of opens you up because you're less of an athlete.
True.
Guys nowadays seem like they're more athletic.
Yeah, they're just in shape,
Yeah.
just from like a general fitness standpoint. But well, back to the game, they take off Orthabo for Gerard Moreno, like I was saying, the 2 strikers, but yet they still have a front 3, kind of weird. They bring on Rodri for Koke. Koke just, as well as he's played for Atletico, and he's done pretty well for Spain in the past. This was just not.
Not a good tournament.
It was just bad all the way
Yeah.
around from him. And then the goal for Morata, the link-up play. This is the one time I think Jorginho has had like a massive lapse this whole tournament, and then it
was
completely cost them.
Yeah, the first time you saw the Italian defense really vulnerable, and they got punished for it, which was kind of surprising. Like,
Yeah, because
they did have that one chance early on in the game. I forget. I think it was Orthabo
Oh yeah,
was
and
in through, and then
he
he had
shot-
a terrible
Did he
touch.
shoot it right? Oh no, that one. Yes, he touched it and it went like right to the keep, pretty much.
Yeah, when really it seemed like he could have just let it roll across his body and then had a shot.
Yeah.
I think it would have been his right foot, but
It
instead he
was.
played it with his left foot, and
Yes.
he took a terrible touch and ruined it.
Yeah,
Which just it's like
it's
Spain.
Yeah, it's indicative of
You
what
get
they
these
are.
into wonderful spaces through on goal, and then you somehow can't convert. Like, in theory, you're like, okay, we have all these great playmakers. Someone's gonna finish these chances.
Eventually,
like, these are
yeah.
professional players. Like,
Yeah,
I could finish these chances. Like, and
Yeah.
then somehow they
They-
get into the spaces, and then they're just like
what do I do?
blasting shots over the net, taking bad touches, and it's insane for players who are like as technical as
Gifted, yeah.
the Spanish team. Like, I don't understand it.
It's just not their play style in terms of the players. They have too many of the guys that do the same thing. There's something about having a balance and having to make like a basketball analogy. There's something about just having a guy who can go get you a bucket, who can just like kind of dribble around, create his own shot, and then like score it by himself. There's something about that. And it's not like you need to have that with this Spain team where you need a Adama Traore to dribble through everyone and score it on his own. But there's just something about having a guy who, when the ball's at his foot in the box, he knows where he's at, where to put the ball relative to the keeper, and what moves to make to get the defenders fanning so they're not blocking a shot. So this one
goes into extra
time.
You'd think Spain, they're probably gassed by now. They didn't look all that tired.
No,
Italy looked like they were getting pretty tired.
Well, because they got all the momentum and really from like the 70th minute on or so, got the goal in the 80th minute. And then the first half of extra time, it kind of felt like they kind of went for it. And then after that, they were just, that last 15, you could tell that as fit as these players are and as well-rounded and as much as they play different guys because they have so much depth, they were gassed. This was their third extra time game, and you could see it.
Yeah. So it comes out that like they didn't practice penalties that much, and it showed. I mean, it showed in the game against Switzerland. Yeah, that was an awful penalty shootout. This one was a little bit better.
This is just showing that they're gonna hire a penalty specialist like 1,000%. And after this tournament,
they really need to.
Yeah,
I don't get how you can go to a major tournament and not practice penalties.
Yeah. Well, what I didn't get is so many people. We'll just walk through the pen shootout, but it went Locatelli miss, Olmo miss, Bellotti gets the advantage, Moreno, Bonucci, Alcantara, Bernadeschi, and then the Morata miss, and then Jorginho with the cool slot to end it. People criticizing the Morata taking the pen. It's like, well, he scored, and I guess that this is like a major issue for some of these teams is like so many guys don't want to take pens.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me on Spain. I mean, none of these guys can finish to save their life, so who's going to want to take a pen?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, it's a little different, but even then, like, I guess I couldn't blame them because it's I wouldn't want that pressure, but still, like, you got to have someone that's willing to rise to the occasion. I mean, I can't think of many guys where that's like such an issue. I remember like the 2012 final between Champions League final between Chelsea and Bayern. Like Neuer took one because nobody else wanted to. It's like, I don't know.
You need that confidence where everyone wants to take a penalty.
Yeah.
Because that kind of exudes around the team, and then everyone feels confident.
Mm-hmm.
When you have this like
belief in yourself,
this the doubt creeps in. If you see one guy who's like, oh, he looks nervous, like, I'm kind of nervous. And then everyone's nervous, and then you take some awful penalties.
That is what you do not need.
Yeah.
Even if you have a good shot and it's saved, at least it's a good pen. Like,
yeah. At that point, it's a good save by the keeper.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just slowly trying to, like, slot it around the keep because you think he's going to guess the one way and you're aiming it. We saw that so much. That was like every Swiss penalty against Spain. It was like, I'm just going to put it here and hope to God the guy doesn't dive this way. I'm going to hope. It's just like 2 miles per hour floater right at Simone. Yeah, this one. Any major takeaways from Spain? Okay. Impressed? Underimpressed?
I got a hot take.
All right.
Fuego. I got a Fuego take here for Spain. So I don't know if you've noticed this, but Spain received so much praise for their tournament. Have you seen that at all?
I mean, yeah, in terms of their playing stuff, and you'd watch like ESPN or something, people would be saying how they're like favorites and whatnot, or not like favorites, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if Spain won. It's like, really?
Well, I was seeing after the game, it's like, wow, Spain, the way they play, it's just awesome. Mm-hmm. They lost, but it was awesome. Pedri, he's awesome.
Yeah.
We love everybody. They're awesome. They play great. But you know what I have to say to that? No.
Yeah.
They were not that good. Just because they had 85% of the possession, just because they passed back side to side with meaningless passes, when you look at their performances, you watch them, their complete failure to score goals is an embarrassment for how good that they should be.
I don't think that's a hot take. I think it's different. I'm more in agreement with you because it comes down to performance versus results. And they may have performed well, they may have looked good doing it, but they didn't win. That's the main objective. You're out there to win. Okay. You might play a beautiful style. It may result in a lot of wins against teams, but if it doesn't work when it matters most, then, you can say you had a good tournament, but in the end, you didn't do what you really wanted to accomplish, because there's no way that they came in thinking they were going to lose, or that they had the expectation of like, well, golly gee, we're just here to be here,
I don't know if it's just me, but to me it seems like people are putting Spain on as a second class team, and the expectations go along with that, and they're like not expected to win anymore.
Second class as in okay, so
in like a second tier team, like a Belgium or something.
No, I get what you're saying.
And it's like we should have higher expectations for Spain. They are a footballing powerhouse.
Mm-hmm.
They should be in contention for every tournament that they play.
Well, before on our preview, what we had Spain in that second tier of teams, but we were saying the finishing, is it there, is it not? We don't know. We can't trust them. That's what ended up happening. I think that's obviously why they're a second tier team right now, but they have so much talent that they can easily make the jump to first. But I wouldn't say this is a first team, like a top level performance by them in the tournament. I wouldn't say it was an easy road, because they did beat some solid teams. Not like they didn't beat a Belgium or France or England or anything, but they beat solid teams. They took care of teams they should have. And then they got beat by a team that was better than them. That's why I'm not too hard on Spain, because I think I kind of knew what they were coming into the tournament. That's the only thing.
Well, I'm not saying that they're not a second tier team, because I completely agree. I think they are a second tier team. But the thing is, like, if a team, you look at Germany, like, obviously they're a second tier team at the moment, but the expectation is that Germany will be in contention to win the tournament.
Yeah.
Whereas Spain, it's like, oh, look at that, haha, Pedri, wow, he's like 18.
Yeah.
This is nice. They pass sideways a lot. Whereas Germany, it's like, wow, this is deeply disappointing. Like, I just don't see where the difference comes up. It's like,
I agree.
The media is not harsh enough on Spain.
I agree with that. I think that the thing with with Spain, it's just, this isn't their golden age anymore. Their golden age kind of achieved what they had to, and I think now that they're clearly out, their people's expectations will just be lower because they won't be as good as that golden age. Whereas Germany, they still have certain guys from the golden age, and the Spain team does too. Not as many, but the German team still does. And I mean, for being hard on Germany, this going in for your manager's last major tournament, and you already know there's a new replacement coming in, it's always kind of strange for them. So I didn't have expectations. You didn't. But I think that would be unfair, because that German team just wasn't nearly as strong as past German teams. And if you went into the tournament thinking that just because they're Germany, you're out to lunch. They don't even have a 9.
The way I see it, though, is that they're like getting off on a free pass. Like,
no, yeah, I get what you're saying.
You still should be allowed to criticize these players,
Yeah, I think that it's a part of the players just aren't good enough, and people are kind of relying on, well, the system, we've seen what the system can do, and it's still, look how far it got them. But I wonder if it's more people don't rate the players on the team as high, so they're like, oh, wow, look at that, they exceeded expectations, or if it's just they're so enamored with the style that they're like, oh, look at that, that's just beautiful.
But you look at the players on paper, I mean, Gerard Moreno and Oyarzabal had great seasons, showed that they could put the ball in the back of the net.
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't there in this tournament. This finishing.
No.
Koke didn't have a very good tournament.
No. I mean, it all the way around for Spain. I mean, would you say anyone had like a really good tournament besides Dave, Alba,
Pedri.
maybe who? Pedri. I mean, he had a good game this game, but his tournament wasn't amazing relative to other midfielders in my opinion. Torres had moments. Like, I don't know. I just maybe I'm too down on Spain.
No, I'm down on Spain too. Let's make up for what people aren't saying about Spain.
I think we have to hold Spain accountable.
Yes, we need to hold Spain accountable.
Yeah.
And we need to free Bobby Sanchez. Please. He would have saved all the penalties.
Of course.
He's a tall guy.
He would have thrown his cap on it, literally.
Yeah.
His Brighton cap, he would have taken it and got them all.
I wish we could like look at an alternative universe where Bobby Sanchez is in net.
Well, they would have had one less own goal, so honestly, it's for the worse if he would have been in net, because it's the tournament of own goals.
Yeah, true.
Anything going forward with them that maybe their World Cup prospects? I mean, it'd be hard to envision unless like one of their guys, because they really don't have a guy.
No.
That's the main problem with Spain too. Not just necessarily a 9, but just a guy who's like a top 10 player in the world. They don't have one.
Yeah, I don't really hate that because, it can be like Portugal where you rely on that one guy. I kind of like the team effort thing. But I was thinking about this. Does Spain ever switch systems? Like, at least try it out where they don't do this.
They won't for a while.
Full possession base. Like, I understand possession based football, but like, you're doing nothing with it.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do it this way, you got to have guys who can finish their chances. Otherwise, you need to switch to a system.
Well, put it this way. With your possession, the idea of possession is to make the other team chase, make the other team tired, wear them down mentally and physically. It seemed like their defenders were the ones that got mentally tired out of everything with all their lapses. And in the very end, with all the extra time games, your team was literally the one that was more physically tired than the opponent, Italy. So
well, yes. Also, the defense is going to look worse because of that high line, which makes you more prone to errors. So, like you say, that's going to be stressful on a defender if you're constantly having to like toe the line of like pushing as far as possible, but not allowing the opposition to get in behind.
Especially, I mean, Laporte's pretty quick, but Pau Torres not very quick. Eric Garcia is decently quick. He's like in the middle of them. But yeah, they got beat, and really why they got beat was is a mix of the momentary lapses from the defense and mainly the attack. I don't know what their prospects are. I don't think it changes any time between now and the World Cup.
I don't think so either.
It would just have to be a luck of your run being ideal for you in terms of if you were to make a run in the World Cup, that is.
And hope somehow someone flourishes and becomes like a world-class finisher.
Yeah, that's going to be Alvaro Morata at 29. Oh. Yeah, not much to say. Wrapping up Spain and Italy. Italy onto the final. Probably been... I think most people would probably say team of the tournament just because they haven't dropped a game, but...
Yeah, for sure. They've been the most convincing, I would say. And
yeah, I mean, a close second here. First most convincing. We got England, Denmark. England with the win on to the final. I would say they're obviously the second most convincing team, and that makes sense why they're both in the final. 2-1 England. Extra time. This game, let me just say it. I'm just going to say it. Everything about this game, surrounding it, everything about the game itself, it just made me angry. It made me so angry just about everything.
All right, rant time, go.
I'm going to try and just keep it short, but just the whole, just everything about there's a whole sense about England and the media, especially the English guys, like really propping them up. And I get it. They're English. They're going to be biased and stuff. And they've looked amazing. But maybe it's just like their analysis and what I'm not seeing about some of this stuff. We'll just move to the first goal by Damsgaard. On that shot, so many people saying that Pickford should have absolutely had that. Am I crazy?
No.
I thought that was an amazing free kick.
That was an amazing
It
free
might have
kick.
been far out, but it had the perfect pace and dip on it. And just because it wasn't next to the post, like skimming the post, perfect upper 90, doesn't mean that it was like a bad free kick in Pickford. And look, we've been seeing how Pickford has been England's worst player so far. And you saw with his distribution and stuff. That's fair stuff to criticize him for. That goal, no.
Okay, can we gotta touch on this.
We'll go in bits.
We gotta touch on this. I hate to interrupt your rant on England and all this because it's quite entertaining to me, but
And then I gotta have another rant about Denmark too.
this first goal, one, I thought overall the match was refereed quite poorly.
Yes.
Which is
Another
such a
reason I
disappointment.
hated the match.
It's
just
like-
another reason I didn't like it.
I think at this point we just need like Felix Brick to referee every game. I know he did like two in the span of 3
the one doing
3
this one?
days. I don't remember. It wasn't someone
Danny-
that I
it was the
recognized.
guy. He's the. I think he did the Dutch one.
No,
Or he did
couldn't have
the
done
Germany.
Dutch.
He did the Germany England one,
Okay.
I believe.
It was just okay. So this first goal sets up. There's an initial foul by England,
Just to confirm, he did do England Germany. But go on.
where I forget who the players were. I think it was Braithwaite and
No, it was Mount and Dolberg, the first one. Or are you talking about a different? Before the free kicks.
yeah, the foul where the one Danish player elbowed the other Danish player, and then they called it a
that
free
one.
kick,
Yeah, that one.
and then that led to Shaw getting called for a foul on. Was it Vestergaard?
No, that was Christensen, the second one.
Christensen. And it was like the most soft thing. Like,
So we are talking about the free kicks, right?
yes, we're talking
So
about
that
the free
first one,
kicks.
the first one by Dolberg, that was a dive. Mount didn't foul him.
Mount didn't foul him, but his teammate hit him. His own teammate hit him.
Yeah, but it was
his elbow.
He still dove, Dolberg.
Yeah, so it shouldn't have been a free kick.
Yes.
That first one. And then they call a foul on the second one on Shaw fouling Christensen, which is like a super soft foul. Like,
There's
it's
always
more of a
jostling.
foul than the first
There's always jostling for position, and he did have his hands on his hips, kind of pulling his jersey. But you would be hard pressed to say Christensen didn't go down lightly.
completely. And that's one of those where it happens every set
But because
piece,
it was
corner.
near the edge, you're thinking that maybe the ref saw it and was more lenient to give it more so.
It was
than, say,
right in
if
the
it was-
front, yes.
Yeah, more so than if it was right in the middle. It probably wouldn't have been called.
And honestly, I hate when they call those because that just opens the door to like people trying to do that every
All the
single
time.
free kick
Mm-hmm.
or corner kick. Super annoying.
Yeah.
So I thought England were hard done by. Not to take
Yeah,
anything away from the goal.
free kick or anything.
Brilliant goal. But I was seething in that moment.
It was pretty rough, unfortunate circumstances. It was one of those things, Denmark really, after about 35 minutes or so, that was about it for their attack. That's the only gas they had left. And they had okay, decent half chances early on. Nothing spectacular, nothing to write home about. But
They at least looked lively.
yeah.
Like they had England on their toes,
Mhm.
you know, on
Yeah.
the counter.
And then they get that one.
They definitely looked like they could have scored.
Mm-hmm. I think it might have just helped England out because Denmark was like, well, we got the one, and we'll just try and see it, I guess, because they were so gassed.
Yeah.
People are
Absolutely.
blaming the travel from Azerbaijan, and I mean it's, I guess, because they went from not having to travel to traveling, and then they came back. But
I mean that's a long ways away.
yeah. So it was rough for them.
We've touched on that, the ridiculousness of
all their home games.
of the way that this tournament was set up, not to mention the fact that it was COVID and like the restriction on fans.
Yeah, it
I
was
mean, the
very
fact that-
imbalanced for multiple sides,
Yeah.
to say the least.
Like, I'm an England fan, but I'll be the first one to say, like, they've had amazing luck because they had one hard road game, and it was against Ukraine, like where they had to actually travel.
Yeah, that was their one actual road game, and it was against
the weakest side,
a meme side,
the weakest side in
yeah.
the knockouts, probably.
Yeah, so
or close to it.
So that's more about the tournament than other stuff. But
yeah,
going forward, England get a goal. I mean, we somewhat touched on it, but I feel like I'll just probably let you talk about this. I know you don't agree, but you want to agree in your heart of hearts. Saka's the best player on England right now in attack.
Absolutely.
I don't think there's any question.
Like,
I genuinely don't. Who is creating more chances than him out of their attacking players this tournament?
He just brings such a different element than any player on the team. Like the way he just runs at players.
His work rate on both sides is just so good. I would say this, just cutting up something else real quick, this was probably Walker's best game.
Yeah.
But we saw last game when they could get away with it because it was Ukraine and it wasn't Yarmolenko's side really. But there's times where Walker was exposed, and it's mainly because it was Sancho in there. It wasn't Saka.
Yeah,
exactly. Or I guess it was a back four. So he didn't also have cover from Trippier, whoever he had out wide. Regardless, Saka just provides that element of defense, getting back, making sure that the other team can't really get anything going, and if they do, it's going to be stopped short right of the final third a lot of times if it's on his side. So, and then he is willing to just dash past people up the wing, in behind.
Yeah, I feel like it's such a rare thing when you have these guys who are so talented going forward. They're always going to be like a Sancho where they're going to slack off.
Yeah.
Going in defense, but not Saka. He'll run and
he'll do whatever you need.
He'll intercept the ball and then he'll make a great run.
He's pretty
down
much
the wing.
It's a little different because he's more forward and he's kind of just more. I would say he's more of an out and out wing. He technically can be a wing back for Arsenal or even probably a fullback if they really wanted him to.
Yeah,
but he's kind of like a Spinazzola of England, except he's actually a wing. Spinazzola more of just an actual wing back.
Yeah,
but their roles are so crucial to their team. It's incredible.
Yeah, that directness going forward just to break the lines.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you get in behind, I mean, you put the ball into a dangerous spot like in this goal here. Kier had no choice.
He had no choice.
But to go full throttle and try to clear it.
Yeah.
But he
goes
couldn't.
Off him and in.
And you just, that's the thing. When you get so focused on creating these perfect scenarios where you're going to do like one pass, two pass, one touch, two touch, tiki-taka, and then you'll have the perfect chance and then you'll score. Well, guess what? It's way easier to just sit back and absorb that pressure and watch you pass in front of them and try and break the back line when there's that one guy just going directly through that back line.
Yes,
once he's
perfect
passed,
timing. Yeah.
All hell breaks loose.
Yeah, there's
you
more
score
chaos
goals.
created
You
by
gotta
that.
take risks.
Yeah, I agree. And that, I mean, looping back to Spain, you would say they didn't really take many chances this tournament,
and
literally and figuratively.
That's kind of been something where England, they have this pressure on them, and guys kind of go into their shell.
Mm-hmm.
Saka, unfazed. He's flying through the air on unicorns into the swimming pool.
Partially just because I think he just has a sense of like there's not a ton of expectations. Because you would say on paper coming into the tournament, if you just showed their general 4-2-3-1 and you're like, all right, pick out the guy who's probably the worst player, I think you would find a lot of people saying clearly Saka.
There were a lot of people who thought he shouldn't have even been on the squad.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and here he is. There, I would say second, maybe third most influential player. I would say probably Shaw 1, and then you could say him or Maguire 2, 3, depending on how it goes. But yeah,
he's kind of like, it's kind of like the cliche youthfulness.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
But he actually is.
Yeah.
Where except he has so much talent.
He takes so much tension off of the team by having a not care kind of free attitude that all the pressure is relieved.
Yeah, he doesn't care about the media.
No.
He's on his unicorn, dude.
Yeah.
That's my favorite picture, flying through the air on a unicorn, smiling
the shooting
as
stars
wide as
meme.
could be.
Some chances before half, they weren't that great relative to the ones early on. Obviously, the Saka play. I just want to say about Sterling, he didn't play any worse or any better than he has all tournament. He just didn't finish.
Oh my God, you're killing me here, dude.
He had point blank chances and he didn't score. And what's the difference if he gets that tap in from Saka? Then he's amazing for being there. That play's not Saka. I just don't get it.
To be fair, if there's no one running in behind, then Kerr doesn't have to make that tackle. But the amount of work that Sterling put into this game was insane. The runs he was making in extra time. Oh my God, dude! It's like he just showed up to the game and he keeps running and he keeps running. It's like 115th minute in, he's dead sprinting. The Danish players are like, dude, stop, please. Like, we're already dead. Like, we can't handle it. They're like jogging.
He completed a bunch of dribbles. It was 10 of 16, so not the most efficient, but that's just the thing with Sterling. I feel like a lot of his stuff is inflated this tournament because of the goals, but people don't talk about stuff you talk about enough with pressing, with just the ability to run around, and even if it's just to get the ball and then lay it off to create more solidity in the midfield possession.
And to like relieve the defensive work, by just making a nice dribble. But you allow your team to get
I think
back.
that's what's just annoying is people just point to the goals and it's like,
he's way more than that.
Yeah, he's there, but it's like anyone could be there. They need Kane further back because he does what Sterling doesn't always do, and Sterling's there because Kane can't be there. But with this one, I mean, we said 35th minute Denmark was dead, but they literally had to sub off like their main guys because they couldn't go anymore. It was like for like subs, not like, oh, we're going to go for it or we're just going to sit back. It's just because and this really just showed how deep England and Italy and even Spain are. You see Denmark and you're like, okay, you got Daniel Voss, a guy on Valencia who's decent. You got Nørgaard, who I believe is on Brentford, newly promoted side.
Jensen.
Yeah, another one. It's like, and they're okay players, but they're not Delaney. They're not Damsgaard. Yeah. They're not their main guys. So there's a huge drop off.
Yeah, really the only good sub they had was to bring on Poulsen. And then after that,
he didn't even do that great this game. So I'm not going to blame him. England's defense is amazing, and they weren't going to go forward that much, so it's just really on him pressing.
Yep.
Sad moment here. Jack Grealish, probably his worst game.
Subbed on to be subbed off. To be fair, though, like it made complete sense because they brought on an extra attacker to go after the game and try and win it, and then they score the goal and they have too many attackers on.
I'm not necessarily saying the sub off is the bad moment. I'm just saying in general his performance was lackluster. Mm-hmm. He just wasn't as good as he normally is because normally when he's on, he's great and good chances for him. And then Christensen, Delaney coming off, like I was saying.
I was reminded that Joachim Andersen is on Denmark. And he hasn't played like at all. And then he came on and he looked tired already, which I don't know how that was possible.
Long flight for him, even though he didn't play that much. Hendo and Foden came on. How about that? I guess Hendo wasn't supposed to be like a massive part, but just seeing Foden and thinking how people are like, oh yeah, here's the guy of the tournament.
I was actually thinking that too because of his dyed hair, that he was going to be like the star.
Yeah.
But it's like,
no,
he's been like such a...
He just doesn't really fit England as well as he does City.
Yeah.
Simple as.
Which happens to like so many City guys. They're so custom fit for that system that they don't really work out that well. I mean, Sterling is an exception.
Walker's his own too, kind of just because he.
If you look at guys who have come up like primarily up through City and not been at other clubs like Sterling or Walker.
Don't talk about James Milner. Don't talk about the pride of Yorkshire.
Like they struggle to adapt to other systems. And it's weird.
That's fair. I mean, Pep's system, like other managers obviously employ it too, but that like system is just so specialized at what you have to do and knowing exactly where you have to be. It's just got to be so alien compared to like typical systems. Like Southgate's system isn't too complicated.
Especially in international where it's less tactical and more
vibes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So then in this one, in extra time,
the key moment
they
of the
create
game.
some chances right before that, which the whole like it, and this is another thing that upset me about this, whereas like people saying England deserved to win, but I don't think they're saying for the right reasons. It's not like England was amazing at taking their chances and stuff. Yes, they were creating chances, but they weren't really taking it. I still would say England deserved to win.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just for a different reason. I think that's why I'm angry about it. They deserved to win because Denmark was literally dead and they were bound. Yeah. If Sterling on that pen doesn't dive or go down easy, however you want to say it, I think they still score.
Yeah, I agree.
Later on.
Yeah. You could see it coming.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, Denmark looked dead. England was pushing.
People pissing me off about this game right now.
You could tell, like, Denmark was just trying to hold on. Try and make it to penalties.
Yeah.
But they were so gassed.
Anytime they got the ball in midfield next time, it was done. Like, Kyle Walker was chasing everybody down and sprinting past everybody. That's how you know. And, I mean, Walker's fast, obviously, but that just goes to show, like, how... Because beginning of the game, he might be equal in a foot race with some of the guys, but he was like blowing past them in catching up to them.
I actually thought he was pretty important in this game because of the Danish counters earlier in the game, but he had the speed to get back even when England looked more exposed, which was pretty important.
Yeah.
Why he's back there, because you have guys like Stones, Maguire, and Shaw, like they're not that fast. So you got to have a guy who can really get back.
And I mean, in that Ukraine game, like we're saying, he got caught out, but this game, soccer provided just enough to where it eases the pressure on Walker, and he's significantly less likely to get beat.
Yeah, in the Ukraine game, it seemed like it was more like take-ons rather than like
passes up the wing.
Behind. Yeah. So he's not as strong in like a one-on-one defensive situation, but if you're like chasing after a long ball, he's going to win. Yeah, most likely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we got to touch on the penalty.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Take me through what you're thinking while this is going on.
I still can't believe, and we've talked about this, but there's literally a second ball on the field, and there's a guy on the sideline pointing at it, and it may have not been directly in the way, and it'd be one thing if it was on like the other side of the field or something, but it was relatively in the area of where Sterling was dribbling.
It was pretty close.
So that's already one issue. We talked about bad officiating. We talked about bad officiating, not noticing that there's a second ball as some guys.
But if you're a ref and you see this like build-up play and they're close to goal, pushing towards a goal, do you whistle that and be like,
yes!
Excuse me, sorry, we have to wait.
On the
we
field.
have to wait.
There's another ball on the field.
But like the ball isn't affecting anything. It's just kind of close. It's kind of close.
He's dribbling toward the ball.
It's kind of close, but ultimately not. No, dude, you're like the one person who would die on this 2 balls hill.
No, I see this all over the internet. People are like, well, how do you not spot this?
Danish cope.
No. We still haven't even got to my Danish rant yet. No.
So
there's
anyways,
2 balls. But no, it was soft contact, if any at all, on like that back calf. I'd say he went down easy. Seems like everyone's in agreement. Went down easy. It was a dive. When Oli Moreno comes out and says, I know a thing or two about diving, and this was a dive. That's how you know.
Do you want my take on it?
No. We know what your take is. We know if this is like slightly below Robin against Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it is. It's in the ballpark.
Like, yes, like it looks like a dive for sure. The only thing is, there's like a hint of question, maybe contact on the knees, which everyone is looking higher up.
So I know I saw it as calf to calf, but if Christensen is going down by being tugged down by his hips.
Oh, I agree fully. But if we're looking at from like a VAR standpoint,
the whole VAR thing too is another thing that got me agitated. How do they not have him go and look just cuz? Even if it's, I get if there's any contact at all, more than likely they're just going to give it anyways.
Yeah.
But just let the guy go look. And what if he says, yeah, no, it's still a pen? At least he went and looked.
That's true.
I don't get that.
I just figure like from a VAR standpoint, like maybe there's some contact kind of like higher up because everyone's focusing like where the ball is and stuff.
Yeah. I didn't see much.
There's a little more, and then
there
was kind of a combination from the second guy coming in. I forget who it was, and Sterling's going down, and then the second guy comes in and kind of adds to it.
He's around.
It adds to it.
He's in his inertia.
It like confirms
solar wind pocket, and that.
But I gotta say, like, people wanted it to be overturned from VAR, but if you have more of these,
I would say this: the Kane one early in like what was that, like the 70-something 80th minute, that one where there's a little shout. I would say that was more of pen. There was more contact on that one than the Sterling one.
Yeah,
and he got less of the ball. I mean,
I just want to say. The VAR thing, though, it's kind of like you'd rather have a few people who are guilty of a crime go free than, put innocent people in jail.
We'll end it on this. If that goes for Denmark over England,
I would be absolutely seething. But that's the point. I am biased. Like, I'm not hiding it. I'm biased.
That's because I'm objective. I'm the true objectivist of this podcast.
He's the true two-ball theorist.
Yes. Absolutely. I don't believe in two balls on the field at one time.
Get that ball off the field right now.
Put the ball off the field now. No,
what happens with you is you see, like, popular opinion.
Yes. And I'm the contrarian. Is that what you're going for? Which
isn't even like popular opinion. It's more like English popular opinion. And you're a contrarian on that. Where the worldview is like, we hate England.
But this goes into my Denmark point. Everyone was so for Denmark. I don't even care about Denmark. I think that they got lucky to beat the Czechs.
Yeah.
I think they got lucky to beat Wales the way they did.
They got lucky to get out of their groups. Like, let's not lie.
Okay, that one
too far.
It's only too far because Russia is so bad and Finland's so bad. That's the only reason I say they were lucky in terms of that the results broke their way. But
yeah, more than that, not like that they didn't deserve
we're in agreement.
But just like the way things
were lining up, and then it just so happened to break for them. Just like it just so happened to break for them. All these calls against Wales, just like the corner. That may have not been a corner, and then they score off it against Czech.
Yeah.
So they had plenty of luck this tournament. To have one bad thing go against you, sure, it sucks in the semifinal, but what are you going to do, Denmark?
Unfortunately.
And then people seething about that, like, oh, I hope you're happy, England.
Yeah, no one looks at the, 10 calls they got in their favor to get them there.
Yeah. I'm with this game was so poorly ref. It was awful. Funny too. It was so bad. Is there anything else you want to say about this specific game? Because we're going to touch on
kind of surprised
things going up.
I was going to say Michael Oliver, but then I realized he's English.
What was I going to say? Man, Schmeichel, what a game though. He was standing on his head.
He was.
That save he had on Maguire, I thought that Maguire one was for sure.
Dude, the whole game, every time England had a set piece, I'm like, Slabhead scoring this one. And he almost did, every time, almost scored them.
He's too good in the air.
It's happening, but you
can't stop
anything.
It. You can only hope to
that
contain
yellow
it.
Card he got when he was jumping.
Yeah.
Dude, stop giving yellow cards for that. It's not a yellow card. He just jumped and his arm was like there because you got to move your arm when you jump. You can't jump perfectly vertically.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's coming home.
So now this game, everything surrounding England, I hate it. Everything surrounding Denmark, I hated it. The game, the officiating, hated it.
Wait, so what was your Denmark rant?
I was just saying like how people were so for them and stuff. I just didn't really get why.
Okay.
I think that's my problem. And their team, it's not bad. It's you know how we're talking about how Spain's lacking that guy. I mean, Denmark's literally lacking their main guy, but this team, I mean, it's solid, and I could see why someone would like them as an underdog, I guess, but I don't know. They're not my favorite collection of guys besides Delaney and Damsgaard.
Yeah. Fair enough. Damsgaard, great tournament.
Yeah.
I would think someone would be after him.
Samp, sell him for 60 mil right now. He'll never get higher.
Yeah, might as well.
So going on to the final, Italy, England. We talked about how England might go for a back three this game against Denmark, and they opted not to. I'm still a little surprised by it. I guess they're like, well, more than likely Denmark will sit back. We'd rather have Mount than Trippier.
Yeah.
So I guess it makes sense. They didn't really care enough to neutralize the width. They must have just assumed that they're going to own the possession. Denmark wasn't really going to press all that much. Looking at the final, is there any way they go to back three? Just because they're so custom.
I think they do.
They're just so custom to the back four, and they like that shape.
Although to be fair,
and then you drop Mount for Trippier, right? Or who do you? I think you have to drop Mount. Even though Mount, he did less of like a 10 role and just more of like an 8 in general, kind of all over the field this last game, because it wasn't that spectacular of a game by him. And it's not a typical Mount game that he had.
He actually has created the second most chances for England behind Shaw.
Well, that's not surprising because England's attack this tournament has been lackluster compared to what you would expect.
The thing I have to say about the back three, though, maybe they would have gone with the back three if Italy still has Spinazzola. Now that they don't have Spinazzola, you see what Spain was able to do, push them farther back.
Yeah, because you're going to want... Well, they're not going to get up as far, so you don't have to worry about that as much.
Yeah.
In terms of the wing back, because it's just going to be more than likely a fullback from Emerson and Di Lorenzo. I think, more than likely, I'd suggest if they're going to go with the back four, it'll probably be the same. I would suspect it'd probably be the same lineup, unless they put... Who would even come out of this lineup for a matchup against Italy?
Yeah, I would say keep it the same because you want more creative players to break down Italy. Mm-hmm. Like, you just have to have more creative players.
Yeah. You wonder if maybe, you probably just hope, but maybe Mount can create a little more in attack in terms of quality, whether it's him shooting. Because he had some shots this tournament, which aren't bad. They're just right at the keeper, kind of half chance. But, maybe if he could create some more shots for himself, or even you get him in a position where he's shooting, because he's a solid finisher for a midfielder.
I think I know what his problem is. It's that little tuft of hair he hides on his chin.
It's the Russell Westbrook on right there, the like 3 hairs that he's got.
I hate it.
That's because you hate Mount.
Fake news.
Yep. True. As far as Italy goes, any major changes, I think they'll probably keep the same lineup as well.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised unless they... No, I couldn't see any changes. They've kept the same lineup pretty much all tournament, except they swapped Chiesa in from the beginning, and then eventually Verratti just got into the rhythm that Verratti gets into, and they've replaced him they replaced Locatelli with him. But
Yeah, I think this will be like the ultimate test of whether England's defense is the real deal. They haven't faced a side as quality as Italy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to because Italy has been the best team in the tournament.
Yeah. It's clearly them. They've been head and shoulders above everyone. I would watch for Immobile getting through Stones and Maguire if there's any way that can happen. More than likely, I would suspect with how good Shaw's been playing on defense with interceptions and whatnot and Walker's pace that we're talking about, I think Insigne and Chiesa might be a little more central, kind of like they were with Spinazzola, but I just don't think they're going to have Emerson go up as much. Maybe they will because they know that Walker and Shaw will be a little further back, but I wouldn't suspect so.
Shaw, you would expect to be pushing up.
He'll be pushing up, but he won't be quite as forward as he is when they have the back three, though.
No. But
I mean, Shaw's always
you still want him like far up because he's one of your best
playmakers,
creators.
Yeah.
Especially in the wide areas.
Well,
Sterling, you kind of like take away the creative factor for the ability to run in behind.
He's just kind of he's the actual striker. I mean, it's almost like they play with two strikers, and Kane's kind of like more of the hold-up guy, and then they have Sterling in behind.
Yeah.
But is there one particular matchup that you're really looking forward to seeing out here? Maybe a little Mount versus Jorginho teammate action there.
Yeah,
for
Chelsea on Chelsea.
Maybe a little Harry Kane against Chiellini.
Let's
see if he can exploit.
Saka would be going against Emerson, or would he be going against Di Lorenzo?
He would be going against. Looking at that formation, he'd be going against Emerson,
which is a key area, I think.
I
think England, Italy can get beaten in the wide areas.
Yeah, it's mainly because Spinazzola not there.
Yeah.
You don't trust him as much.
Also, Di Lorenzo
he's probably
shaky at times.
He was from the get go. He was their probably worst guy. Yeah. He's not bad. He's just solid enough. But
yeah. But he has made some mistakes. So you see a vulnerability in there.
If he's not there, Sterling will be right there for the tapping.
Oh, boy.
With this one,
prediction?
I was going to say, any predictions? I picked, even though I didn't say it on the pod, the original bracket pick for me was Italy-England in the final. I had Italy winning. Having seen this tournament, I think I have to go England 2-1.
It's funny because I've been thinking about this, and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, Italy has been the best team, and I think they'll win. But now I'm talking about it, I'm thinking, yes, maybe they are vulnerable in the wide areas.
I think
maybe England could win.
I think Italy's still the best team, but I think with this matchup, I think England's just going to win. There's something about England being like super. It probably comes down to playing at Wembley all the time, but it showed with Denmark too. But even against other teams, they just look so much more fresh in terms of their athleticism as the game goes on compared to Germany.
Dude, in the end of this game, they were putting on like a training session. The way they were passing. It was,
and part of that was mainly Denmark was just really out of it compared to most teams they play. But even like in the games where it doesn't go to extra time and stuff for England, they just look more fresh when it comes to the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's just part of their regular training and being world class. And
so my prediction.
Stuff. Yes.
It's also 2-1 to England.
Oh, and now I got to change mine. Now I got to go... I can't go 3-2.
4-0 Italy.
Yes.
It just seems like that's the most reasonable expectation.
Yeah.
2-1.
2-1.
Although England's defense has been good. They did let up one goal, which
was an amazing goal.
Shouldn't have been allowed.
Yeah.
shouldn't have ever happened.
been conceded.
Should
tell you what, Jordan Pickford, this is his worst moment. He should have
they
had the
did
ball.
him wrong. They did him wrong. He should still have all clean sheets.
I just can't believe people acted like he should have 1,000% had that.
No,
I can't believe
that was amazing.
So 2-1. Any predictions for who scores?
I think Kane will score, and it's got to be Sterling. I mean,
it's gonna be
their go-to guys.
It's gonna be Mount, and it's gonna be Kane.
Or, there's always the Harry
Stones.
Maguire.
Oh no, John
header.
Stones out of nowhere.
John Stones.
He had the one off the post in Scotland.
They bait you into thinking they're gonna go to
Yeah,
Harry Maguire, and then on the near post, John Stones is
it's
left
gonna be
free.
that play that they ran against Ukraine, where you forget about it, but it was Hendo against Ukraine. But
Yeah.
they're gonna do that with Stones.
Yeah,
The ultimate psych out, and then he's wide open.
wide open. No one 5 yards around him. Can football truly come home?
I would put it right now as I think Italy's favored by it's 60-40 or something. I would say it's probably 55-45 England. I think England matches up pretty well with Italy.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point about that. I do like the matchup as well.
Mm-hmm. With that said, I'm cheering for Italy.
You're cheering for Italy.
Yeah.
I'm cheering for England.
It'll be a good time.
Loser has to admit on air.
Well, I already
That-
said that. What did you want me to admit? That Sterling's the best player in the world. I know that
Yes,
he's
Sterling's
gonna,
the best player in the world, and then if Italy wins, I have to say what?
I don't know. There's nothing that I
the
want
play
you to-
should have been called off because there were 2 balls on the field.
Not quite. You just have to accept that Denmark was the best story of the
Oh,
tournament.
God. Okay, cut. Edit that out.
I'm just excited. Final, and then we get. It don't stop there.
Right
we
back
get
into
right
the Premier League.
We get right into the Premier League.
Lick my chops.
Oh my
full
gosh.
stadiums. Let's go.
When is it? I think it's most sporting events July, 18th or something like that. I think all of them are allowed. I mean, that'll obviously be start Premier League will be after that, so it doesn't matter. But still,
Yeah, something like that.
it's gonna be amazing. Even the smaller stadiums with all the fans packed in.
Yeah, I mean, even a
Games-
team like Crystal Palace, their fans are insane. So
Yeah. Well,
Leeds.
we got Leeds. Elland Road is gonna be hopping.
We all love Leeds. We all love Leeds. We all love Leeds.
Can't forget Carroll Road. They're back.
They're back. The Canaries.
So, yeah, until the final, until the first official Premier League news roundup.
Will it come home?
It's coming
Home. It's coming home. It's coming. Football's coming home.